What's up, guys? This is Zach with Engineered Wealth, and today I want to talk about what, in my opinion, is the quickest way to pay off your student loan debt, and that is working part-time as a real estate agent. By implementing these techniques myself, I was able to pay off my student loans in 1 year's time. I'm really excited to share my story with you today, and hopefully by the end of this video, you can see if this is a strategy that you would want to use yourself. Having student loan debt paid off is a huge accomplishment, and never having to make another payment again is just a great feeling. Now, before we begin, if you could please really quick like this video, it will really help me reach more viewers, and even while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date on all my future content. And one last quick note is that this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a CPA or a financial advisor, and I highly suggest you consult a tax professional before starting this process. Okay, so first off, student loan debt is a huge problem many people in the United States are facing today. As of 2020, the current student loan debt is now at $1.6 trillion and continues to climb higher. More than 2/3 of all college students now take out student loans, and the average balance each borrower leaves school with is around $30,000. And the effects of having student loans is a huge deal for many people. It can delay starting a family, it can stop them from investing otherwise, or even affect, how much place they can afford to live in. Now, everyone's personal situation is unique without a doubt. But if you're watching this video, you yourself probably either have student loans or know someone with student loans. When I graduated from college, I had about $25,000 in student loans, and I went to an in-state public school. There are many other people who go to out-of-state schools or even private colleges who carry a much larger balance than this. So here's how the story begins for me. After finishing college and starting my career, after a few years of working, I decided to get my real estate license. At this point, I had purchased a couple real estate rental properties. I had gotten more interested in real estate investing, and I thought that by getting a license, I would be able to get more education about how the whole process works, and on top of that, I could even potentially save a little commission when buying and selling my own personal portfolios. However, when I started this education process, I didn't realize that I could be even making thousands of dollars in my spare time working as a real estate agent. Once I made a commitment to represent others in a transaction and I closed my first deal, I threw all of that money right at my student loans. You see, the thing was, I didn't really need this money to maintain my lifestyle, and my student loans were the only thing when looking at my financial picture that were really weighing me down. Now, all I had to do was help a few of my friends purchase homes, which is a very rewarding process in itself, but on top of that, be able to pay off my student loan debt completely. Before I get into too much detail on the numbers, let me first quickly explain the process. Then I'll lay out a scenario and show you exactly how the process works. Okay, so the first step in this process is to first acquire your real estate license in the state in which you currently live in. Each state has slightly different requirements, which involves some form of education classes and passing exams. For me, in Arizona, it required 90 hours of education classes and passing state and school exams. Now, I've gone ahead and put a link in the description below for you to check out what's required in your state. I know this process will require some upfront time, energy, and money to get started, but it will soon pay off big time because once you even do your first deal, all of that energy will be well worth it. So once you've completed all your requirements and passed your exams, you can now apply for a license. And once you have your license, you can now hang that license with a brokerage, which is really a fancy way of saying work for an established real estate firm. Now, I highly recommend that you get started with what's called a flat fee brokerage. These brokerages pay 100% commission and then just charge a processing paperwork fee for each deal that you do. There are plenty of brokerages out there that you can find that meet this criteria if you do a search in your local area. Plus, many of these brokerages still offer full phone or in-person support. Now, real estate agents typically get paid by either representing a buyer or a seller in a real estate transaction. The amount of commission can vary, but typically it's about 2.5% to 3% of the total sales price to both the buyer and the seller's agent. So for example, let's say a home sells for $250,000 and each agent receives 3% commission. In this scenario, both the buyer's agent and the seller's agent will each receive $7,500 for closing this deal. Now, that's a lot of money. Now, keep in mind here that commission is always subject to tax. Now, tax laws vary from state to state, so I highly recommend you contact a CPA to help you navigate through this. Now, for the strategy to work best, I highly recommend you focus on being a buyer's agent rather than a seller's agent. And I'll give you 3 good reasons why. So first, I think it's way more fun being a buyer's agent Being a part of someone's experience to purchase a home, especially their first home, is extremely rewarding and very fun. I would say almost everyone buying a house is very excited through the whole process. Now, on the contrary, being a listing agent representing a seller can sometimes be a little bit more stressful and can be more of a painful process for the seller. Second, I was in my mid-20s when I first got my real estate license, so a lot of my peers around me had not even yet purchased a first home. Being able to be that resource for them to help them understand the advantages of homeownership is huge, and once they're ready to make the commitment to move forward, you're gonna be the first person they call. And finally, third, it's free. It's free real estate. Well, let me explain. When a seller lists their property for sale, they typically are paying the full commission for both the buyer's and the seller's agent. What a lot of potential buyers don't realize is that they don't have to pay for an agent's services out of their own pocket in a transaction. A lot of times, just mentioning this fact alone will get a lot of people that were maybe on the fence about buying to start looking at properties. Now, when it comes to someone buying a home, many do so outside of normal work hours, so it's easy to maintain a similar schedule to your clients. Typically, house showings are conducted in evenings after work, on weekends, or sometimes during lunch hours depending on the situation. As their agent, it's your job to find them a house that meets all of their criteria and needs. And once they find that perfect home, it's your responsibility to help them navigate through the paperwork and the negotiation process, and in doing so, you'll get paid a commission when that deal closes. So now, what you've all been waiting for, let's break down the numbers and prove out this strategy. Now, I'm going to use national averages for both student loan balances and median home sales prices. So just keep that in mind, and that these numbers can be drastically different depending on where you live. We'll say that you currently have about $30,000 in student loans, which is about the median average of most students. Let's also say that you're completing home transactions at the median sales price of $295,000. So let's assume a 3% commission on each of the deals, and we'll also estimate a $500 paperwork processing transaction fee that your broker will charge for each deal. So based on this information, let's break down those numbers. Now, for each $295,000 home you sell, there will be a gross commission of $8,850. So after your broker fee of $500, you are left with $8,350. So now we're gonna take the total student loan balance of $30,000 and divide it by the $8,350, and that comes out to 3.6 home sales. Just 4 deals. Let that sink in. All it's going to take for you to completely pay off your student loan debt in this situation is to help 4 people purchase a property. That's 1 deal every 3 months. It's just crazy to think about. This is the exact strategy that I use to pay off my student loan balance 100% in a year, and I did it completely in my part-time outside of normal work hours. And on top of that, I still continue to work in real estate part-time, and any money I make now, I use to invest. Now here's where I challenge you to run the numbers yourself and see how many homes it'll take you to sell at whatever price you want to pay off your student loan debt completely. Let me know in the comments below how many homes it's gonna take you to sell to get to that threshold. Now, one final quick note I want to mention if you decide to pursue this method is that you need to take it very seriously. Make sure that you are working with the utmost respect and integrity for your clients. Don't be the real estate agent that falls short of expectations or lets somebody down. I know that if you work hard and diligently, that you can be very successful in this business. Before you know it, you'll be completely debt-free, and it will be a huge weight lifted off your shoulders. Overall, I hope that you enjoyed today's video and that you're able to learn and decide if this strategy would be something you'd want to try. And if you made it this far to the end, please go ahead and ask any questions down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks again, guys, and until next time.